Painter Dan Tolman here. It's time for another weekly update. Hopefully during all this, as many people as possible are taking some time to get out there, enjoy some of the local things our businesses are trying to do during these difficult times. There have been lots of different food trucks around town and all the different outdoor events. All these businesses are trying to do different things during this to keep people coming and enjoying their products. It's always to get out there and support our local businesses whenever we can. Well, today is election day, and as you know, voting is both a right and a privilege that we sometimes take for granted. It's always important to express our values, beliefs, and common sense at the ballot box, no matter what that might be. Remember, if you're holding on to a completed ballot, please get to City Hall by 8 p.m. today. You can also leave it in the drop box located in the Lewis Street parking lot anytime during the day. This box is safe and unloaded frequently. If you plan to vote in person, please remember to wear your mask, keep your distance, and use a hand sanitizer, which we have a good supply at all of our polling stations. If you don't have a mask, we'll be happy to provide one for you. If you're not sure where to vote, please call City Hall or log on to myvote.wi.gov to find out. So let's go on to our COVID numbers for the week. Slide 1 shows what is happening in Pierce County. There are 38 active cases, an increase of 16 since last week for a current total of 225. Activity level is high. You will notice that unfortunately we've had 3 deaths over the last week in Pierce County. In slide 2, you will see that St. Croix County has 154 active cases, an increase of 7 since last week for a total of 515 cases. Their activity level is high too. Sadly, the county experienced 3 new deaths last week. On slide 3, you will see there are over 9,380 active cases in the state, which is actually a decrease of 483 since last week. Deaths this past week totaled 998. On slide 4, I want to share some of our local and regional criteria for moving to the next phase of our recovery plan. You'll see that the last figure represents a percentage of beds available to treat COVID-19 patients in the 15-county region of Northwest Wisconsin. You can see that this percentage has remained mostly steady, which is a good thing. Last week, I mentioned our COVID-19 community survey, which ended last Thursday. We received a total of 527 responses, which we are currently compiling. I want to share a couple of things that I found interesting right off the bat. You'll see this first slide represents the answer to this question. What are your household's biggest COVID-19 related concerns? Respondents were asked to check all the boxes that applied. You will see that over 60% of respondents fear exposure to the virus and people not adhering to health guidelines. 42% are worried about their child's education. 37% are concerned about their own family's mental health, and only 27% are worried about their finances. 15% are worried about employment, and 10% are concerned about child care. 6% are worried about access to food. Now here's the good news. Slide where respondents answered this question, what are people doing to prevent the spread of the virus? As you can see, nearly all of our respondents are washing their hands frequently, while 93% are staying 6 feet apart. You will see that 82% of respondents are wearing masks. I'd like to note that most of the respondents took the survey prior to the governor's masking order on July 30th. I am sure that number will continue to rise as we all get in the habit of wearing our masks for the safety of us and others. We're also doing well, gathering in groups of 10 or less inside and 50 or more outside, and we're all staying home when getting sick. It's difficult limiting traveling to within the River Falls area when so many of us work out of town, but I know you're being as careful as you can as you travel around this summer. Hopefully finding things to do right within our beautiful city and state. Next, I want to share a couple of City Council updates. At last week's Planning Commission, members considered a resolution to implement the development plan for Milltown residents, previously known as the DeSantis Townhomes. The plan was passed on to the Council for their consideration. I want to thank our community members for their participation in our public meetings. Change is always difficult, I know, and we do the best we can to ensure that multiple views are represented when we take on new development projects. We need to weigh those singular views against public wants and needs, and that is not always easy. Next week, I'll talk more about housing and other developments around the city. As we continue to make progress throughout this pandemic to create housing and jobs for our workers and the businesses that move into our community for their employees, as we continue to grow our economy. At our council meeting tonight, members will consider a resolution to censure a fellow council member for public comments unbecoming an elected representative of our city. Council members won't always agree on issues, and that's a good thing in our democracy. But it is important that we are always civil and respectful to our citizens and each other. I hope this will be the case moving forward. To find out more about what's on the agenda tonight and for login information, visit the agenda page on the city's website. You can also check the city's Facebook page for links. In closing, as we move into back to school season, I want to thank you for taking all of the extra precautions to ensure that our students are safe at school, at home, and throughout our community. Remember, too, that we will be welcoming thousands of college students back into our community over the coming weeks. Now is not the time to let up on our shared commitment and diligent effort to keep our schools and businesses open while fighting the spread of this virus. Please remember to treat one another with kindness, respect, and compassion as we continue to address this virus. The only and best way to do that is by working together. So until next week, be safe and be kind. And remember, as always, if you have any comments or concerns, do not hesitate to send them to me at dtoland@rfcity.org.